So it's Lammidia is a project that started in 2010 with me and Marco. Marco is my childhood friend. We knew each other since we were 3 years old, and we did a lot of things in life. We studied together when we were until teenagers. Then we moved to Rome to study for the university. I studied engineer. While Marco studied communication, and so the idea was to make something completely different. The perspective of our life was, for me, was in management. Marco was in other fields, and then we started, being a bit more passionate about wine. So starting visiting some fair, some tastings, some winemaker. But in 2008. And when we were 25 years old, we discovered the natural wine scene, and then it was like epiphany for us, and we were crazy for that because we were in Italy, that is a very big conventional wine fair, and so we were. I remember at the end of the day I was drinking, everything tasted the same. Everything was similar. I didn't have any emotion. But the day after, there's a friend of mine say, there is another fair with natural wines. I didn't know anything about that, even the difference natural wine or conventional wine. Okay, let's taste. Let's go and see what happened. It was something. Every wine I tasted was, at this new discovery, was something super emotional. And then say, okay. This is interesting, and so we started to go to visit winemakers to see what they do, and in the meantime we were still having another life. I was living in Milan, working in a big consulting company, so my idea was still there. And then visiting winemakers and other winemakers, having this deep relationship with people, and see the love they put in the life, the lifestyle, and when you work for me, I was working in consultant, so working 20 hours per day, traveling all the time, was super stressful life. In the other side, so people were they had time to take care of themselves, take care of living in connection with nature and everything. And so we say, okay, interesting. So in 2010, after traveling all around, we were in Beaujolais, Alsace, Piedmont, Jura, Burgundy, 2 weeks traveling all around Europe, to France mainly, and a bit Italy, visiting my winemaker. Say, okay, let's try to do something. So it was a time where we say, okay, let me see how it works. And so in 2010 we say, okay, is it possible to make wine only with grapes? If you ask someone, say, no, it's not possible because the natural flow of the wine is being vinaigrette. That is not true, of course, but it's many people were say, no, it's not possible, you have to add always something to correct, to protect. It's okay, let's try to see how it works. As many biggest I would say projects, we also started from a garage. It's from my grandmother's house. My grandmother has a house in the mountain, really in the middle of nowhere, but very nice place. It's like in 700 meters above the sea level. It's okay. I say, Marco, I have this space, we can go there and we can try. And so we did the first vinification, and was following all the process was something very emotional, and say the connection you have with the products, because for the wine it's something you do from really the beginning, from the fruit, and then you manage all the transformation and all the developing, and then you can create the idea of the wine, the idea of the label, everything is, you can manage 100% of the product. And say, wow, this was super nice. Decided, okay, I have to do this in my life. So I left my job in Milan and moved back in Pescara, and as it was not I would say family business, it was something that showed the passion. We started for that, so we rented a small vineyard, then we bought some tool, rented another vineyard. Slowly we grow a small idea of winery, and in 2014 we did our first legal vintage with our own grapes and some grapes from France. If you know Lammidia, you know that we make, I don't know, hundreds labels, because the idea is always to experiment, to try to do, you know, I always say, because we don't have a technical background, so the only way we can learn is learning by doing. We study and everything, but it's learning by doing. Even because the natural wine approach, natural winemaking approach is not something that you can control 100%. So you can read a lot of manual, a lot of books, but then what happens if you say, okay, let's do the grapes, this job, you cannot control. I say learning by doing, even learning by doing mistakes most of the time. And that's why we do a lot of cuvée, because it's a kind of first to experiment and to see how the same thing can work, you know, or maybe we have the same grape and we do the same grape in 5 different ways to see what is the best way to extract the best potential from this grape. Maybe we do this in 1 year, say, okay, this is the best way we do carbonic mass for this grape, this white grape, the best way to extract the top potential is doing a maceration. And so, okay, this is the way we do the wine. After 2 years, say, okay, we don't like it anymore, so we have to change. And so we change. And it's all the time, every vintage, it's a new adventure, and we do something new all the time. And you know, for us it's sometimes we have to face a problem with, you know, if you work 0-0 all the time, from the beginning to the end, from the starting the fermentation until the bottling, we always are 0-0, and you risk a lot, and you can have problem with the wine. Maybe the wine is not stable, the wine is not tasting well. What we did in the past, I would say honestly, as we had to invest all the time, all the money we got, and so we had sometimes happened that we sold wine that was not 100% ready. Maybe needs more time to be more stable, more ready. But as for survival, we need to sell it. And now the challenging is to continue working 0-0, but now that we are, I can say, more structured, and we do more wine. We did the investment, and now we can manage better. Now we have to time, and the challenge is to sell the wine only when it's ready, when it's stable, it's okay, so it doesn't have any problem. Otherwise, you know, it's because now it's the natural wine scene is changing very, very fast, and is also facing some problem in terms of market, in terms of credibility. So we have to continue to support this idea. Our initial idea was, can we do the wine only with grapes? The answer is yes, you can, but it's very complicated. And so, but for us, for us there is no other way to make wine. So so from nothing, we bought land, we planted our vineyard, then we bought a vineyard. So today we have 8 hectares. 5 of them were planted by us, and where we planted really crazy things. We planted even Sauvignon, Pulsar, Riesling, Cabernet. We have I think 15 in 5 hectares, like 15 different varieties. It's the best. Also the same approach we have wine, we have also in farming. If you want to make a wine that is working 0-0, of course you have to start from good grape, healthy grape, live grape, and for do that you have to work in the vineyard, organic, keeping the vineyard alive all the time, and even then is a very complicated story. And making compromise today this vintage was a very hard vintage. We lost almost in one vineyard we lost 99%. 2 hectares of pecorino we did 1 barrique. For the other vineyard we lost 30%. But if you believe in what we do in the vision, it's hard in this situation it's hard to keep it. Otherwise, making compromise is always an option that sometimes looks very easy, because this vintage working organic was very hard. We had to, because it was in May and June, we had raining, maybe all 80% of the days was raining. So if you work organic, you spray sulfur and copper, and you spray, then you have raining. So it wash everything. So you have the first time you have time to go back in the vineyard, you spray again, and it's raining. So it was a fight against the raining. It was very hard. But staying in the vineyard every day, trying to keeping out the leaves, so to help the air to flow through the vineyard was very helpful. And so through this action we saved the vintage. But we have a lot of friends that maybe were even organic, or they lost 100% of the production. And this situation, making the compromise, okay, working organic this vintage is not possible, let's spray systemic products, and you can bring the grape at home, but at the end what you are drinking, what you are working with, because now we have some friends through which we buy some grape for when we buy like usually 30% of the grape. This vintage, finally we have our vineyard that started producing, so we bought just 10%. The trend will be this. So before starting working with them, we analyzed them, even if they don't know, but they didn't know, but we analyzed the grape, we analyzed the soil. When they were, so can I take some a bit of soil, can I take some grape just to see how it works? And we did analysis. If you make analysis, it's called the multi-residual analysis on the grape. If you spray something that is, because the difference between organic spraying and conventional systemic spraying is that organic is something that stay, on the skin, on the leaves, If you have raining, they wash everything. So you have to. So the what you sprayed didn't affect anything. If you spray systemic products, it's the vine absorbs. So it goes inside the grape, inside the leaves, inside the plant. If you make analysis, you find this molecule. This is a molecule from Bayer. The analysis can find everything. So I'm making wine. If you spray conventional, spray systemic products, you are drinking something where there is something chemical in the grape, and it's something that I cannot understand. I can't drink this kind of things, and so that's why all the process should be, for us, pureness is the main scope. So working with pure grape and wine, 100% organic, or so 100% grapes and basta.